Yes, guys, what's going on? We are back. McKola and Howson's Pod to Nowhere, back again. We really do not know where we're going after that announcement by Boris Johnson, and I've not even seen it. I didn't want to put myself through it, but I've seen the reaction to it. Steve's already said he hasn't got a clue what's going on, and he's got a load of staff to deal with and himself to deal with and all sorts of business. So, how's it going, Mr. Bold Steve?
Oh, yeah. So I put in our little staff WhatsApp group. Does that mean we're back in or not? And everyone was like, I don't know. So I've just saw this on Instagram, and it's got a picture of Boris Johnson. It says, go out, but stay in. Go to work, but don't. Play sport, but don't. Go to school, but don't. Sunbathe, but don't. All of this is conditional or not. Stay safe, stay home, but don't stay home. Go out, but don't. Stay alert. Stay alert on public transport. We're on phase 3. That pretty much sums up that absolute wibble that I just listened to then. Because everyone's pulling a specific part of the quote out. If you can't work from home, i.e. construction, then you are encouraged. Like, basically, get your fucking ass out and go start working. So then you're like, okay, well, shops as well then, because they can't work at home. But shops aren't going to open until fucking July or June, he said. And then you're like, and sitting there, like, I'm just thinking, well, football, they can't work at home.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
It's like, where does it start, stop, end, all the rest of it? And like, can we work from home? Yeah. Is it efficient? Fucking hell, it's not. It's an absolute nightmare having to do their meetings every morning. Is everyone doing what they're supposed to be doing? Collaborating, the videos that we do together, all of that sort of stuff. Could we do that more efficiently in the office? 100%. Can we do that safely in my office? Luckily, my office is quite big, so we could probably get 6 people in there entirely socially distanced. But do we want to be the dickheads that go and do it first, even though the obviously really clear guidelines from the government said go back to work, but sort of don't?
Sadly, I'm very. You could say, "I'll come and film with us." I've got to go to the toilet at some point on my journey. Where do I go? So then, what am I bringing? Like, I'm just staying at home. I'm not even listening to what's going on. I didn't listen on purpose because I just thought I'm in a little bit of a privileged position where I can stay at home. So I'm going to stay at home and just ride this one out, and hopefully it'll all be sorted very soon. But I've seen the reactions and I've seen the memes have started with lockdowns, like with the gate, but nothing around it, and loads of things like that. The memes have started already. So
you see the one I put on Twitter?
I
just put, did he just say go and sit in the sun in the park? It's going to look like this, for fuck's sake.
Yeah,
a stock image of Woodstock. That's what it looks like now. Like, I've seen loads of things of where they've had issues with people. So many people just going, I'm not fucking doing it. So you give people, you have to, unfortunately, and this is the nightmare scenario, unfortunately, you do have to cater for the thickest person you've ever met, don't you? You have to understand how that guy interprets it. Means that's how thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people are going to interpret it. So if you say, go to the park and sit in the sun, tomorrow morning, there's 49 parties in the park because that's what the local crackhead heard. Fucking heard. That's what the local crackhead hears or heard.
And it's not even the local crackhead. It's like, if you've seen some of the videos over the week from VE Day and stuff. Now, I understand celebrating it with your family, but you got cameras and stuff out there, like encouraging people to be in the street and doing congas on ropes, and you're thinking, what on earth is going on? And I feel like some people have just, it's gone so long, they're just like, oh, fuck it, I'm bored now of this, so I'm going to go out. And then the people that are actually staying at home are thinking, so what do I do? Like, do I carry on? And everyone's just all in the middle. It's just, we literally don't know where we're going. We don't know what's going on. And we were supposed
very aptly titled.
We were supposed to get some response from football to this announcement today, wasn't we?
Yeah, tomorrow their meeting, isn't it? But they surely can't. I mean, the exercise with people, it doesn't really apply to football because you're not exercising with people. Yes, you are exercising, but in the same way that construction workers aren't exercising, even though some of the stuff that construction workers do is quite athletic.
Mm.
It is work, and I think you could make a case that you can come back to Carrington and be socially distanced for a lot of training. For a couple of the lads that I chat to at the moment, they're not allowed to see anybody outside of their household at the moment, and that's not been the case. I know some people will be like, "Yeah, that's what everyone's been doing." Yeah, but it's now not even like Joe going to the garden to say hello to him sort of stuff. It's like literally totally fucking quarantine the players. So there's probably something come down through the clubs, through the FA, through the Premier League, which is enforcing this shit. Or sort of like off the record telling people that this is what we're going to do to bring it back. And then they'll slowly start working it in. But I reckon that was a kick in the bollocks for the Premier League from them notes today. They didn't really say anything that was going to be looking like it was coming back to me. Unless I'm misinterpreting it, because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know fucking hell he said today, really.
I from the little I've seen and read, and you'd think like reading someone, like sometimes when people speak, you might not get, but when you read it back, you'll be like, oh yeah, I get that now. I've read some of what he said, and I literally thought, nah, not a clue, mate. I'm just going to stay inside my house. Anyway, talking about football, Brighton, third player, apparently has got the coronavirus. We know however many it is, some of Brighton's players have got it. I saw all sorts of tweets today from Liverpool fans suggesting it was Brighton trying to get the season avoided with false positives. But is this a spanner in the works for the start of the season?
Yeah. I mean, so they can't play anyone for... Let's say this happens. There's some rumours going around that the middle of June, the football's back on it, and that everyone's working towards that, whether it's been publicly stated or not. That's what they're working towards. Now, what happens when the day before... There's no way that you can possibly isolate... I mean, I know what we just said is that they're trying to do that, but there's no way that you can completely isolate everybody and all the surfaces that they touch and eliminate all of the threat of any sort of contamination for all of the footballers that are playing and all of the squads and all of the associated staff and the referees. And there's no way you can do that. You can't do that unless you go and quarantine them in like some sort of prison, right? Or like or even a holiday camp even. You don't have to be like prison. Yeah, like, Premier League Butlins, whatever you want to call it. So unless you do that, you can't eliminate the possibility that the night before a game or even like the day of a game, doesn't the virus take a minute to show up? Like if I sneezed on you now and did a test on you now, you're not going to show up for it right now. It's going to take 12 hours, 24 hours. I don't know what the time is, but it's a period of time, isn't it?
Mm. You can have it and not. I believe I've read that you can have it and it could not show up on a test. But I don't know what to say.
Let's say Brighton played Liverpool, and then the day after they're doing these tests every couple of days, every 48 hours, it showed up that 3 of the Brighton players have got it. Now then you have to isolate the Liverpool players for 2 weeks, which means that the season's going to drag out. And I saw someone earlier say, why can't we just play the season in November? I think we've highlighted before the issues with the transfer window, contracts, for fuck's sake. Players are contracted to the 30th of June. The FA's own rules state 30th of June is the end date. It's so much easier to scrap a season right now, just for how clean it could be. That the cut now, you go, right, okay, void it, and we start planning for next season. Because you can always adjust with next season, and you can look to cram in a load of games. Because the vaccine, if they have one, sounds like it's a year away. So before the end of next season, probably springtime, maybe late winter next season, there's probably going to be some sort of a vaccine, which means that you're going to probably start to see, even if there's outbreaks, people can get vaccinated and you can probably still play with minimal sort of impacts and stuff. It's just irresponsible for them to be trying to force it through in the manner that they are. It's just not right.
There was a quote from Sky Sports this week, where they were like, they were having a vote and they were the Premier League were warning teams, well, you can vote this way, but you're going to have these implications or consequences.
Absolute disgrace.
And it's almost like mafia moves, isn't it? Like, well, you get a say, but you don't really get a say because this could happen to you. Now, they've also, I think, if you're going to go ahead, you've got to kind of say, how many lives is it worth?
Yeah.
So if one death happens, are you still going to carry on?
Yeah.
If one person in ICU happens, are you still going to carry on?
Imagine that a footballer dies from this because you brought it back early.
It was Todd Anwar that tweeted something about footballers are... He sarcastically tweeted, because footballers aren't human or something like that as well, talking about football coming back. So, his high profile in that is a well-known player for Norwich, but there'll be a lot of players that have that sentiment.
And you know what? For all the people that are about to comment, my sister works in a petrol station. My brother works at Tesco, stuff like that. I don't want them working either. I don't want any of our family. My mum and my dad are both working. My dad works in lift engineering. They can't stop because hospitals have lifts, airports, and everywhere has lifts. So lifts have to be operational. And my mum's a key worker in terms of dealing with blokes with mental health issues and stuff like that, which she's got a residential hospital sort of thing, but she works at. So both of them are having to still go to work. And I don't want either of them. I don't want anybody to have to go through this. Just because someone's working in the garage because someone's considering, fuel, a key worker role. Yeah, that fucking sucks. And I wish you could get stuck at home and not have to go to work. But that doesn't mean you bring football back as well because someone else is having to work.
And ultimately, football is an entertainment, isn't it? They aren't key workers.
Is it fuck? They're very well paid. And yes, they provide entertainment and a pastime for millions. But at the end of the day, we don't need it back. You do need petrol stations to keep things going. You do need lift engineers. You do need nurses. Tesco has just become a fucking key job, and let's be honest. Mm-hmm. So all of those people have to go to work. I would love it if the entire country could sit at home and play FIFA all day long. That'd be amazing. And what a fucking great way to kill a disease that would be. But the practical side of situations is it can't. The police still have to go out. I've got a couple of mates who are firemen. They're still going out. They're still working. They're saying, actually, it's fucking good because it gets me out of the house with the missus and stuff. But
there must be more instances like that as well. Fires and things. But it's a weird one. We don't know what's going to happen with football, but I guess we'll learn more tomorrow. And there'll probably be bits leaking out tonight as well, won't they? Because there'll be an immediate reaction to that. I can't see football returning, unfortunately. Even the Bundesliga, there's a few teams or players that have it as well, and they're scheduled to return next week. So is that likely to be affected? I imagine that could still happen.
Bundesliga looks like it's still happening. The fixtures have been released, haven't they? Now I think everyone's working towards them. And I saw K-League, some highlights of that today. Someone scored a beauty of a little back heel. Yes. But I recorded last night's UFC and I started watching it. But I'm going to be honest with you, my heart ain't in it. Like I couldn't.
I'm going to ask about that because I fell asleep about 4:00 and then I watched the rest when I woke up. So I have caught up on it. But what did you make of it?
Well, like I said, I saw Dom Cruz, bits of Dom Cruz fight, but I turned it off because I saw some of the highlights and results beforehand anyway, which always makes it harder to try and watch it earnestly. But the whole vibe of it was just wrong, and I didn't like the selfish attitude Dana White had of we're fucking doing this. And there was something came out this afternoon, which is the UFC has put a clause in people's contracts, which means that they can take the purse back off them if they criticize the coronavirus protocols that the UFC put in place. So proper North Korea the fuck out of it they've just done. I don't like it. And I don't like it especially as well because now Tony Ferguson's lost. We're not going to get to see him and Khabib. And people are like, oh, well, he'll have lost to Khabib anyway because he couldn't beat Gaethje. Well. But you're like, it's a totally different fight. You can't just say because he lost to him, he's going to definitely lose to him. That's not how it works.
I think he would have lost to him, but you're right. Yeah, you can't. Stars make fights, as the old saying goes. It was, and then they had things where the commentators were all separate, so Joe Rogan and all that. But then they did bits where they were together. And that I thought some people wearing masks, some weren't. Like it was all really. They had Ring Girl, which was surprising.
Is that an essential member of staff? Really? Who's she showing that to? You could have left her in the dressing room if it was for TV, and just cut to her like that, holding the ring card.
At home on Skype.
Yeah. Why did you need her in the arena? Whose benefit's that for? That's bollocks.
Oh man, that's a great image. That is a Ring Girl on Skype at home. She forgets for a second and then stand up. What's going on? That would be great.
Or a stream gets delayed.
Yeah.
Someone has to text her. Oh, round 2. What? Oh shit.
It's easier for the UFC and WWE to go ahead because their contracts are all centralized as well, isn't it? So it's almost like they can make rules, whereas there's 20 different clubs. There's the Premier League, there's BT, there's Sky Sports, who you have to speak as being big stakeholders in this.
Oh, hugely.
Everybody is involved, so like with UFC, it's easier for them to say, right, we can get this going ahead. But how did it work in terms of the training? Like, were they regularly tested while they were training, or did they just train, leave them to their own devices? When they met up with the UFC, they got tested fight week, and if they failed, they couldn't fight. Was that how it was, basically?
Pretty much, yeah, from the limited bits that I read on it, because, like I said, I was pissed off of them for doing it. So I was like, I almost wasn't... Like, it's tainted my obsession with UFC, to be honest, because I don't agree with them doing it. You know, and that's why I didn't want to watch it live. I fucking illegally streamed that shit. It did, yeah, but doesn't mean I have to fucking support it. So I didn't fucking watch it live.
With United being relegated, but we still watch it in the Championship.
Yeah, but no one's doing that at the risk of anybody's health, are they?
Yeah, my health, fuck's sake.
Directly at the risk of anybody's health.
Oh, God. Yeah, it is. I enjoyed some of the fights that I seen yesterday. I liked that you could hear the digs. It was like actually watching a fight live in the street or something, because you could hear the digs. You could normally you can hear them breathing, but you could hear like and coughing up guts, and like you could hear a lot more when they were in fighting, which was interesting.
I'm used to that though, innit? Because of the work I do with IMAF. So often IMAF is usually. But isn't there
a crowd there usually?
Only for the finals usually. So you probably watch about 300 fights where there's just cornermen. Okay. And judges. So I'm very used to that. I remember the first time I went, I had my laptop sat on the corner of the cage, and I was watching United Newcastle on a stream. And this is how close I am to the action. I had to move my laptop because it was touching the cage chain link. I had to move it out of the way because it's dangerous. That I moved it out of the way, and I got blood on the back of my laptop. That's how close I was to the action.
Oh God.
So I am used to hearing punches and kicks and like fighters screaming out in pain when someone yanks them a submission and shit like that. And so I thought it was just going to be like that, and it was it was very much like watching an IMAF fight.
Yeah, I've only seen really sparring up close without and that's a little bit different. Sometimes they've got guards on, they've got head guards. Reminds me of when obviously Raza, my friend, is a pro boxer now. When he was an amateur, him and his brother both used to be an amateur. God bless his soul, rest in peace. He's passed away now. But him and his brother, in his living room. His living room was quite big, and they had sofas around the edge. So like in the middle, it was just a square. And Raza used to have his boxing gloves on. John used to put his headgear on and his gloves, and they used to just duke it out in the. And you'd hear some digs going in. It was quite good stuff. Reminded me of that a little bit, but a little bit more gruesome. And you got to see a lot more as well, because I felt, because they weren't cutting away to, let's go see what this guy is saying, or let's have a look at this guy in the audience. Let's go have a look at what, there was a lot more where they were showing inside the ring, which was good. They're going to have to be, like, I read something, now obviously WWE is completely different because it's entertainment, but when I was reading something by Triple H where he was talking about one of the matches that he set up with Undertaker, and they had to think out of the box, like, how can we make this better without a crowd? Like, how can we make it work without a crowd? And I suppose some sports are going to have to do that, aren't they? Like, rethink things. You've got people in Germany, like, fucking putting artificial fans in the stadium and things like that, which I don't think is going to work. You're hearing talk about artificial noise, and you can't really do that for football, can you? Make it better without an audience?
I listened to a broadcast of one of the games that had artificial noise, but the artificial noise obviously doesn't react to action. So when it's all like, you've got background noise, but when someone beats the last man, goes one-on-one with the keeper, that artificial noise or that real noise in a stadium is just going to go, oh, as everyone builds and gets excited with it. Whereas when it's artificial noise, it sounds weirder, that there's a disconnect now between when they're just knocking it around at centre half probing, that's fine. But when it goes into the box, then it takes you out of the box because you're like, the fucking noise doesn't, like, what are you doing?
You'll learn a lot more about the players though, won't you? Personality-wise, leadership-wise, maybe, you know, who's doing more on the pitch and who's not. You'd learn a lot more, I think, as well, because you'll be hearing more, seeing more. So that'll be interesting to see how that side of things would be, the tactical side of it.
If they bring Premier League football back, okay, there's going to be extreme amounts of testing involved with that. But the paddock lads are itching to get back and play. At what point does amateur sport come back, and is that treated differently to professional sports? Because, let's be honest, no one's going to watch us. But what happens if a load of people do want to watch us because they can't go and watch Premier League?
But then let's say on a smaller scale, so the Premier League's excuse is we need to come back because the money that we will generate will help all these people survive, etc., etc. That's a perfectly fine argument. But on a smaller scale, you'll have Sunday league football, or referees need to get paid, or, you know, like certain people that have burger vans, or like certain people will need that income. So you can justify it from every level, like not just Premier League level. You can go down to grassroots level and justify these things even more because the money's needed even more. So yeah, I totally.
I'm not even talking about it financially. I'm talking about it from just a pure competition thing.
No, but I just mean in terms of people. Once you can justify one thing for that reason, you can then justify so many other things.
Yeah, and even if it's not for a financial reason, if it's safe enough for the Premier League to come back, it's safe enough to me to go and play against you and your 5 mates in the park, surely.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're allowing financial decisions to dictate health issues, and that's fucking wrong.
But that's almost why I think we've got that ambiguity there in what they're saying publicly to the public, so that
will be interesting.
It's almost left down to the people, isn't it? It's left down to the employers. If you have to go to work, all right, my boss said I have to go to work, but you're not a key worker. Well, I have to go to work. I've been told if I have to go to work, I can go. So it's like where you have more. You know, if you were stopped outside now, you've got more excuses. Do you know what I mean? Or you've got more reason to be outside now. And I think they've kind of just given that rope to people to almost say, if there is a huge spike in these instances and a huge spike in what we're seeing, then it wasn't our fault because we reacted late or because of the decisions we made. It was your fault because you didn't adhere to the rules that we set out, even though those rules were very vague in the first place.
There was some rule in place when my dad was coach of Manchester United's rugby team. And they were in National League 3, which is League 2 level in football, essentially. And he'd done a bit of recruiting over in Australia. You weren't allowed to bring in foreign players unless they already... Like, you couldn't just, as a team, you weren't allowed to go and recruit someone from another country. You could find people who lived in this country and get them to play for you, but you couldn't take people... Basically, you couldn't do what he did. So when he put down where they lived, he put that they all lived at my mum and dad's house. There was 9 players living at my mum and dad's house. He went and got a load of New Zealanders, a load of Australians, and a couple of South Africans, and they won the league. Bent as fuck, but he did it. So I'm sure there's going to be people that are just fucking bluffing the rules like that big time.
Oh yeah,
that's on the Joe. People are saying like, can I go and play sport with members of my household? All of Premier League are just about to have all of the players live at the same fucking address. Just watch.
Yeah, Butlins.
Yeah.
It's all Premier League Butlins.
Premier League Butlins in real. That's what they've been all talking about. Robin Hood caravan parking, real. That's where it's going.
Well, I think Wales haven't relaxed their rules. So it's probably have to be Devon or somewhere like that. Brighton, maybe not Brighton, seeing as half their squad's got it by the looks of things. Did you see those conspiracy theories, though, about, I think it was Jay. Was it Jay that tweeted them?
Yeah.
The screenshots.
Just stupid people have Twitter too.
It's true. A lot of people have. I always find myself, like, you always think, like, football fans are weird. Once, like, I ventured into One Direction Twitter by accident. That's pretty weird. And, like, what's that Korean music called?
K-pop.
Yeah, they have things called fan cams there, which, like, when it trends, it makes me think, like, oh, football fan cam. But it's not. It's always, like, K-pop stuff. And, like, you think football fans are crazy. They're really not. Or Nicki Minaj fans. Or Beyonce fans. Have you seen them? They're like worse than Marshall FC. We get a bad impression.
I pissed off WWE fans regularly, to be honest. And, yeah, they're worse than Arsenal fans.
Yeah, I pissed off wrestling fans. I am a wrestling fan, but I'm an old school wrestling fan. I pissed off new school because, like, I was watching something and Edge returned. And, like, back in the day when I watched it, Edge was, like, just a tag team member. He was involved in great fights with the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys and that. But he wasn't The Rock or Stone Cold or anything like that. And he was getting this crazy reaction. And I was thinking, like, I didn't used to give a fuck about this geezer. Is this how shit wrestling is now? And my mentions were ruined. How did you piss them off?
By talking about how fucking fake and bullshit it is. And when people go, oh, no, someone called them athletic. And I said, they're not athletic.
No, it is, bro. It is.
Wait, let me fucking finish. Being a scaffolder, you have to be athletic. Don't make it a sport.
It's not the same, though, bro.
Right? Cirque du Soleil is athletic. It's not a sport. It was the definition of them calling it a sport and athletic. And I'm like, it's not a sport and it's not athletic.
I think now you can possibly compare them to gymnasts and things like that a little bit more for what
you can. You can compare it to Hollyoaks.
It's
Hollyoaks with fucking.
But, like, you can't tell me when mankind's getting thrown off things and the damage their bodies are going through is real. The pain that they're putting themselves through is real.
What?
And when you look at some of the things that they're doing, like, their punches might be fake. They're not really punching each other in the face. But when they're taking some damage during these things, and I think you're going to see a lot of the Attitude Era wrestlers now coming out with bare lawsuits here.
Is being in a car crash athletic?
Nah, but it's not the same,
go.
bro. It's not the same, man.
Is being a stunt driver athletic?
It's not the same. They are athletic.
Sport. Right.
What is the definition of athletic?
Someone who plays a sport, I think.
It's not a sport. It's not a sport.
I didn't say they're not athletic. I said they're not athletes.
You're fucking with us now, aren't you? Changing everything.
Right.
Athletic means physically strong, fit, and active.
Right. So scaffolding and fucking people who dig holes on a motorway, they're athletic. Know what I mean?
Nah,
Which was my point.
It is a sport. It's not a sport. It's sports entertainment. It's scripted.
Which is nonsense. Right. Which is about as... That's like saying Goal 2 is a real match.
Now, Shaolin Soccer, on the other hand, is real. But Goal, I'm not sure. Newcastle will never win that many games in a season.
I mean, it's just... Look, just because something's hard doesn't make it a sport. Like...
Bro,
digging holes is
hard. Had a fucking
in
tooth
January
come out of his nose, bro.
Right. Was that meant to happen or was it an accident?
It was an accident.
Right. Thank you.
But he still got thrown off a cage and chokeslammed through that cage.
So what?
He still got
sport.
Yeah, it's not a sport. But you keep flipping the argument from athletic to sport.
Because I'm fucking remembering something from ages ago, and I've slept since then. But yeah, it was the are they athletes? And do they? Because I was like, no, because they don't compete in the sport. People are like, but they're athletic, and I'm like, okay. So's the little gearhead who stands at the bar, and you know what I mean? It doesn't mean he's a fucking don't play a sport.
I think you're disrespectful with your argument. That's typical you on Twitter. I think you exaggerate a point to make a point.
Yeah.
And
fuck wrestling fans. Fuck them to death. Yeah.
But I'm a wrestling fan, Steve.
Right. But I know a lot of people don't take it serious.
Well, I'm not anymore.
But here's the thing, right?
But I know Money in the Bank's on tonight.
People on Coronation Street aren't tweeting the other characters on Coronation Street in character and saying stuff like, I'm going to beat you up. And you'd be like, oh, how do you know you're going to beat him up? Did you read the script? Did you get a text off one of the writers? You'll do what the fucking script tells you to do, so shut the fuck up.
Yeah, but, you know, I feel disrespected at the moment, to be totally honest with you. And the cat's meowing. You probably heard that. Like, so I'm trying to settle this dude down because I can't be asked to get up and open the door. But I am actually rattled by that, you know. You look like Kevin Owens, by the way. Do you know who that is? You've been told that on like every other video since you started YouTube, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and people say he talks like me, and I'm like, don't think so.
No, he doesn't talk like you. He's a dickhead. Yeah, I don't like wrestling anymore, so maybe I'm not a wrestling fan anymore. But yeah. Did you used to watch it at any point in your life, though?
Yeah, in the 80s when it was real.
It wasn't real? That reminds me of my dad. You just did what dads do. I remember I used to be watching that wrestling, yeah. And my dad used to be sitting there like, you do know this is fucking fake. I'd be like, yeah, but Dad, you woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning to record it for me. So he was like, nah. But he used to just sit, and I used to think, hold on, there's some twisted shit going on in here. There was some stories in the Attitude Era. Like, there was one story where a girl got pushed off the ring by D'Lo Brown and pretended to lose a baby. It turned out she wasn't actually pregnant. There was one bit where Mark Henry talks about, I might be wrong when I say this, but I swear he speaks about sleeping with one of his siblings in a storyline because he's addicted to sex. Like, there's so many twisted storylines in it. And the only thing my dad was saying to me was, you do know this is fake, don't you? Not all the other stuff that was going on. Like, maybe you shouldn't be watching this. But
yeah, it's just like, I think when I was like 6 and 7 and 8, and I can remember like watching it because it was on Sky One at the time.
You used to be on ITV as well. I might be wrong with that, but
I remember watching bits of it then, like Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage and Ultimate Warrior and all them fellas. But you know, then I turned 8 and fucked that shit off.
I fucked that shit off probably when I was in about year 9 at school. So how old's that?
I do remember when I was 12 or 13, that one of the lads that I played rugby with, he was watching it in his house, and I remember being like, "Fucking, are you watching this for?" No, so I know, and that was like Stone Cold era, I think.
You're a disgrace for not watching that era, by the way. You had Undertaker kidnapping Stephanie McMahon and putting her on a cross and trying to marry her. You missed out on that.
I don't need storylines. I watch sport for the sport. That's the best thing about sport. Yeah,
but it's like EastEnders, isn't it? You watch EastEnders, fun.
Nope. I don't watch any soaps.
Yeah, I used to watch EastEnders, so they started changing Ben Mitchell every 3 episodes. And I was thinking, what's going on here? Like, you can't keep changing.
The only thing I watch on TV is football. So at the like someone, I think it was you last week when it was like, have you seen that advert? Like, I haven't fucking seen an advert. Actually, the only thing that I do watch on TV at the minute is fucking CBeebies. And I'll tell you this, Dougie is well written. Well written.
Dougie, what's Dougie?
Mate, you need to go Google it.
I think is it Doug with an E at the end?
Duggee. It's actually like got quite a bit of like, there's a lot of subtle nods for the parents that are having to sit through this shit.
Nah, that looks weird. That does, man.
It's good though. For like some of it is unbelievable bollocks that you just want to fucking headbutt walls with it. Dougie's actually got some subtleties about it, and it's.
You know how many views some of these kids' videos get?
Yeah, hundreds.
We should learn how to make we should make a cartoon series Raking them views. Yeah, that doesn't look entertaining to me. I was watching Recess the other day, so I don't mind watching some cartoons at times, but that one doesn't look entertaining.
Oh, this came up on the quiz last night. We was doing can you name the song from the lyric? And one of the lyrics was from South Park, ample parking day or night, people shouting howdy neighbor, right? So obviously that was South Park. Everyone was getting that. But did you know what Kenny's line in the title sequence is?
His line isn't homophobes without temptation, is it?
No.
Which one is it?
Well, his is. You can't hear it, can you? It's not audible.
Howdy neighbor.
No. It's not what he says. They've released what he says.
I thought I kind of knew it because that's how it sounded. But go on.
But no, it's I like girls with big fat titties.
That is, yeah. Because remember when he had that thing? Was it the 3-titted? When he was sniffing cat piss, and he fought with whose dad was it? It weren't Randy Marsh.
I think it was Randy Marsh. I think.
No, it wasn't. Was it? Yeah, because they were fighting in the sandpit, right? At the end of the show. No, it was Kyle's dad, I think. Yeah, and they have a fight at the end over the 3-titted lady.
Yeah,
which was a great episode. What's your favorite episode of South Park if you had to pick one? So, like, if you were gonna pick, like, you had all the episodes there, and I said, let's watch an episode of South Park.
Poor and Stupid, maybe.
Which one's that one?
It's where Cartman becomes a NASCAR driver.
Oh, that's very good.
But he has to give all his money away because he's not poor and stupid.
That was the one where he drinks Vagisil or something like that.
To make him more stupid.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like the Ninja Toys one, the Ninja Weapons one.
The Ninja Toys one's a top 5. Yeah, gotta be.
That's a very good one. And the World of Warcraft
when they're cutting from the cutting from the usual scene to like the proper Japanese
where he's edging across the stage.
Butters is low-key one of the best characters that's out there. But I think
is top 3.
Cream Free, she's a good one as well. With Randy Marsh when he becomes a chef.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a good one. What soul's that at the end? He has a wank, doesn't he?
Is it?
Yeah. Because she's using the shake weight. Is that the shake weight episode?
It might be the shake weight.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? I think. And the shake weight at the end squirts up and chucks out change.
Call yourself a cab. You're doing great.
Yeah, that's a great episode. No, South Park's class. I was watching some old Simpsons between
when the internet goes down as well.
13, which was good. Yeah, where did it go again? California Way. Tegrity Farms has brought a new element to it, which I like as well. Because PC Principal started pissing me off.
Yeah,
I didn't like him. And then, like, Tegrity Farms has kind of, with Randy Marsh cropping his own weed, and has kind of brought something different to it, which I like.
Sodo Soper, that episode when they get a Whole Foods, that was a good episode as well.
Yeah. Shitty part of town. The shitty white guy was funny as well. He's actually a white guy, isn't he? That episode where he's unveiled.
Yeah, when he gets revealed. And I can't remember, but he's the white guy and the Chinese guy and someone else. He's like 4 characters. Fucking all over the place.
I like the Trump ones they did with Thingy. And, and he's saying, "Don't vote for me. Please don't vote for me." He's telling everyone, "Don't vote for me," and everyone votes for him.
You fucking idiots.
Because they can make the episode so quick, it's always relevant. Because like when Obama won, they had the Obama winning the election one like pretty much straight away, didn't they? Which was sick. So yeah.
Oh, isn't that where that's where they have a fucking big party and Randy Marsh gets arrested and he's like, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I thought it was America."
He goes up to his boss, tells him to fuck off. That was good. Good times, South Park.
Yep. South Park's a genius writing. To be able to write that long.
Who is it? Matt Stone and Trey
Parker, yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And I think they had a deal, didn't they? There was like, right, when I think was it NBC or whoever took them over, there was like, we want to see approval, and they were like, yeah, you're not going to get approval. And it was like, all right, cool. So you just drop off the tape for us every Monday, and they were like, yep. And they were like, all right, cool.
Yeah, that's sick. Yeah, the film. I don't know if I like the film. You know,
it's memorable, but it's not amazing, is it?
Like, you know, if you were to rank it alongside the episodes, I don't even think it'd get in top 20.
Do you know what's a bad watch? It's a good nostalgic watch, but it's a bad watch. Is Beavis and Butthead Do America?
Yeah, I watched a clip of that not long ago on YouTube, and I thought, why did I used to watch this? What came of that? Then the movie that was kind of based on that, wasn't there?
No, that was the movie. Yeah, the movie.
No, I mean there was a movie with two geezers in it. Was it Bill and Ted?
I think that came before it.
Was it? All right.
I don't know. If they did, I don't know about that.
What was Bill and Ted? Yo, chill. Please don't start me out on loads. Yeah, it was Bill and Ted must have been after it, or before it. Sorry. MTV made Beavis and Butthead, didn't they?
Yep.
Do you remember Ren and Stimpy?
A little bit, but not so much.
Please watch some of that. That is still great. Like when they go looking for the fart and things like that. It's very, very. I think Ren and Stimpy has aged well. I really do think that has aged well, because some stuff we must have just watched back in the day because there was no option, or like people at school watched it, so we felt pressurized into watching stuff. Or
undoubtedly that happened. There was what the fucking hell? Janine said this to me the other day. Oh, did you what? Like we all used to watch it, but it was shit.
I can still hear you.
I can't remember what it was though. It was just some apps like Heartbeat or something like that. You just watched it because there was nothing else to watch at that time of day. So you watched it.
I spoke to you about Heartbeat the other day, didn't I?
Yeah, I can't remember who it was or what it was we were talking about, but ultimately it was just something that was shit. And you're just like, this is just fucking terrible TV. It's never been good.
Yeah, Heartbeat was good though. Reminds me of my just chilling before school, having a bath and that. Probably your weekly bath. Pinky and the Brain's another one, but I thought that was more kids stuff, wasn't it? Pinky and the Brain.
Yeah, that was Looney Tunes, wasn't it?
One is a genius, the other's insane. Animaniacs they were from, weren't they?
That was it.
That was good. It was Looney Tunes, I think. It was just new. How did us guys meet? Literally through internet.
Yeah. Probably did a video.
Not like Grindr.
Johnny organised it, probably.
Yep. I remember meeting you at Old Trafford for the first time. Can't remember what game it was, but it was early days of Full-Time Devils.
So it probably was 2013, 14.
But I always read MUFC Latest and stuff like that. So there was that, which I obviously didn't realise was you till I met you.
I saw them tweet something the other day, and I didn't see the account name. I just saw an article that I wanted to read, and I clicked on it. I was like, fucking hell. Because I'm obviously not involved in it in any way, shape, or form at the moment.
I always see it on news now, and I'm like, oh shit, it's still going. What happened to that? Just gave it away. Sold it.
The guy that was running it was a bit fucking naughty. And
actually, yeah.
And was a bit fucking out of order. So it's not something me and Ben wanted to be associated with after that. So we just said, you have it. And I took the Facebook page. And the Facebook page is now my Facebook page. So if you ever search for me on Facebook, you go, why has he got 300,000 fucking... That's why.
Facebook's a slow one for me. I deleted it at some point, but I got 8,000 on there. But it doesn't really grow. But anyway, we got videos. The Pod to Nowhere is the only video that goes out on there every week.
Lewis here said, there's a Liverpool fan I work with called Michael who says he was in school with you. Is he right? I don't think so.
Who are they talking about, though? Me or you? Oh, Steve. Sorry, It says Steve.
Ask him at which school. I don't mind if you put my school up on here. I'm not asked. It's quite fucking public knowledge where I went. I've said about it. So I don't remember a fucking Liverpool fan.
They probably wouldn't have said much at school at that point, right, in Manchester?
I do know of 2 Liverpool fans that was in our year, which I always found so weird at the time. But I reckon, do you know what? There probably was about 5 or 6 City fans, but there weren't many.
I remember I met a Manc guy once. Well, I used to work with a Manc guy when I worked for JD, and he was the mankiest guy from his voice, but he was a Chelsea fan, and it used to rattle my head obviously, I'm a Man United fan from Birmingham, okay, but you very rarely see that flip. That rattled my head a little bit. But I suppose, like, if you grow up and you don't even really like football, some people just do something that will be the opposite of what everyone else is doing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think some of the people that were Liverpool fans, when you act like, what the fuck are you doing that for? It's literally for the same reason I'm a United fan, because my dad's a fucking Liverpool fan, and it just happens to be where they grew up. It's the same with you. When I played rugby league, who was the best player I played with and against? Well, there's a lot of people who went on to have pretty good careers. One of the lads that I played junior rugby with played in a World Cup for England. So I think it'd be fair to put him right at the top. There was 2 lads that were sensationally good. My school was in Tameside, and we didn't have a rugby team in Tameside because it was part of Manchester, or just a football borough. Full stop, actually. But I was pretty good at rugby. Well, hence, I was actually professional for 5 years with rugby. So I was half decent, I think it's safe to say. Because we were good at rugby, they allowed us to go and play for Oldham schools district. I wasn't in Oldham, but they allowed us to play for that district. And at under 16 level, basically the town team league. I don't know if there's an equivalent. It's probably like what the under 15, 16s, 14 sort of academy systems like, because in rugby you're not signed at 12, 13, 14. They don't have teams until under 18s. They might have like a bit of a development squad around 16, but no one gets signed until you're like leaving school. So the town teams is the route, because if you think about rugby league, Warrington, Oldham, St Helens, all of these places, Oldham as well, Leeds, they're all a town, and that town has a team. Even Salford, that town has a team that represents them. So if you was playing for your town team, you just got sort of get picked up by. You just got sort of get picked up by your local town team.
I suppose that has its benefits, and it's because one, you're not getting coached at a club or like a better level than maybe your school or your local teams and that. And then, but kind of secondly, like there's some people that probably get everything when they're young and then stop working hard for it. So it kind of makes you keep working till you're at a certain age and you can get a club, doesn't it? Yeah,
we played. So I played weekend rugby. I played for a team called Saddleworth. It's got a pretty good pedigree of bringing through players. It would probably be like not quite Fletcher Moss, but in that sort of ballpark, Joe, in terms of football, with the amount of players that are coming through it. There's a half a dozen every time you go there that are at a club. So we were playing for all the different town teams, and we were top of the league in the town team. We'd gone undefeated, and the closest we came to the closest anyone came to beating us was we beat someone 2-0, which in rugby is a fucked up scoreline to have. I remember it being one of the hardest games of my life, and that was against Lee town team. We beat Wigan, we beat St Helens, we beat everybody essentially, and we played Warrington, and Warrington was second in the league, and we put 70 past Warrington, which is a proper bumming. That's 10-0 in someone that. And the week after we did that to Warrington went to South Wales, which was a district, and they put 120 past them. And then we was meant to play South Wales, and they went, "You're not allowed. You're just going to fucking embarrass them." So we ended up not being able to get our final game of the season, which meant that we didn't get awarded the trophy in front of anybody. So they just sort of posted us out a medal, which was shit. But I remember we played against Salford, and I was babysitting for my cousin. And at the time, we'd had a couple of good performances against Lee. And I don't know if this is how it works in football, but I'd had a couple of conversations. Like, it just goes through your dad, doesn't it? A couple of conversations with Lee. And I was going to be going to Lee Centurions to join their academy at 16. And then we played Salford. I got man of the match against Salford. And I'm sitting there babysitting my cousin. And we was meant to start at Lee the following week. But there's no contract signed. It's not like football where you've made a commitment for X number of years. It's almost like a Saturday team level, really, despite it being a professional club. And they phoned us up. They phoned my dad up. We got hold of my dad's number, and he was like, "We'd like to text T at Salford." I was a Salford fan, so you're like, "Well, there's no decision to be made." It's not like, "Well, what are they offering?" It was just like, "I'm in," and I did 3 years at Salford, and I enjoyed it, and I loved it, and I played against. Well, not against, I guess. I trained with Martin Offiah, which is like having Pele in training. Martin Offiah is like one of the greatest to
I've
ever.
heard his name, so that means he must be good.
So
I haven't got a clue.
There was some really good players in that team. I played for Great Britain. I played for Scotland.
What was the Great Britain kind of? How did that work? Was that because there was no England, Scotland? Was that Great Britain,
there was.
or was it like an Olympics kind of athletics kind of thing tournament?
No,
Commonwealth.
in Rugby League, you have you usually see a Great Britain team because it just makes England a bit stronger, essentially, to go and try and compete with Australia and New Zealand. And this is, I'm not going to say it's a regret, but it was a fuck up on my part. We had a very, very long build up to a test series with Australian schoolboys. The schoolboy tour's a huge deal. To get into the Great Britain squad, you have to play in the home nations. And I didn't go to the trial. I didn't get a letter. Didn't know about it. And I got a phone call from one of the coaches from the Great Britain team. He was a mate of my dad's. And he was like, "I wanted to put you in the Great Britain squad. Why don't you come to the England trial?" I was like, "What England trial?" And he goes, "Well, you should have got a fucking letter." I was like, "Well, I didn't. And obviously I would have gone." And he's like, I said, "So can you put me in the squad or what?" And he goes, "No, I can't just put you in the fucking squad." He goes, "Everyone's turned up and everyone's on merit." And I went, "Well, what are we going to do then?" And he goes, "Have you got any relatives in Scotland?" And I went, "No." And he went, "Excellent. Glad to know your granddad's from Scotland." I'm like, I didn't say that. And he was like, "Fantastic news." He goes, "Don't worry about all that paperwork. We'll sort it out when you get here. Can you get to Crewe and Alsage University campus in like 3 weeks or something like that?" It was. And I was like, I guess so. Like, what's happening? And then I turned up. And
I'm Scottish now, Dad.
I played for Scotland for 3 games against England, Wales, and Ireland.
Was that kind of like Giggsy playing for England though? It wasn't like a. Because remember, Giggsy played for England schoolboys, right? So was that kind of like what you did with Scotland there, where it's kind of easier?
Fuck knows. I mean, you don't really question it, do you? He was like, "I want to put you in the Great Britain squad. You need to play in the home nations. I can only select players that have played in the home nations."
So then how much longer was it after that you played in the Great Britain squad?
Well, I think it was April, and then I probably spent 6 months with the Great Britain squad because they trained on a real regular basis, proper regular, like probably once a month they'd get together for a couple of nights. So they was preparing as well, and we trained at all sorts of different places. We ended up doing like a 2-week camp at Newey University in North Wales in Wrexham. And we went and got on a team building sesh. The coach goes, "Right, I want you to go out and I want you to go and like get drunk. And I want you to have a bit of team bonding." And we was meant to play the full Wales team the next day in a like a bit of a build-up thing. Like Iestyn Harris and Joe, all these fucking players that play Super League and stuff. We're a fucking under-19 team. We're gonna get smashed, right? That was the game anyway. We was literally meant to get smashed. We was a fucking warm-up game for these. Well, me and another lad had gone to a different bar and then got a text saying, "Oh, we're all in this bar. They've said if you give us a tenner, you can just drink whatever." Student gaff on it. So it was like, all right. So he gets in there, orders a drink. I drink it, and they're like, "Oh, we're playing left-handed drinking." Right? So if someone says that to you and you've got something in your right hand, what would you do?
Drop it.
You put it in your left hand, wouldn't you? So I put my drink into my left hand. And then they go, "Right, you got to do a shot." So they bring a shot over. Well, which is my free hand now? Well, it's my right hand again, innit? So I've done a shot and they're like, hey, double. About 45 minutes later, anyway, I'm in hospital. So there was 22 of us in the squad, and they had to cut 2 of us to get down to the squad of 20 to go and play Australia. Needless to say, I got cut. I'm not bitter about it.
You fucking foreskin either.
Yeah, I'm not bitter about it. It was my own fault, but yeah, there was some fucking good players in that team. I'm sure you can guess, and there was some fucking excellent players that I trained with and played with and stuff like that. I'm not bitter about how it went with rugby. I give it a good go. Apart from that, like I fucked up there, but I give it a good go. You know, my diet was on point. I was like this. I mean, this is hilarious looking at me now, like, but I was like the second lowest body fat in the Great Britain squad. And because I was a forward, they was like, you probably need to be a bit chubbier. Mission accomplished, lads.
Can I get a game? Come on, I'm ready.
Just 16 years too late. Don't worry about it.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, this was 18 years.
So then how long after that? So when that finished, did you just think, all right, fuck it, I'm going to the army?
So this is 2002. So 2002, I'm at college. I'm playing for Salford. And 2002, Salford got relegated from Super League. And it was like, right, we're going to use the academy lads to come up because we can't afford the first team contracts. So everyone go away on holiday. We'll see you all back here in a couple of weeks. We're going to start pre-season. We're going to get you all built up and you're all going to fucking play first team. I'm like, fucking first team player led. It's happening. And then they called us back in for another meeting a week later and went, we've had a lawyer go through the first team contracts. You're all sacked. Say what now? They released the entire academy. Apart from one guy called Michael Platt, they kept him. So they released us. So I got released from Salford in September. I got kicked out of the Great Britain squad in November. And I went, fuck this, I'm joining the army in December. So then I did basic training for the whole of 2003. 2004, I got another contract with Keighley. I played a year at Keighley. I didn't enjoy it at all, to be honest. And then I got picked up by the England amateur side, which is the England Lionhearts. And I was playing a bit with England Lionhearts, and then the coach of the England Lionhearts got given the academy job at Doncaster. And he took me and a couple of other lads he was from Wigan. So we were Northwest players, you know, according to all of, because Doncaster's obviously Yorkshire. We used to drive over with him. I think they'd lost 8 games on the bounce. He brought us 4 over, and then we probably went like 1-1, 2-2. We won like one, lost one sort of thing for a little bit, but then we started losing again, and then there was a big clique formed, and everyone was a bit like snide about the fact that we would get back in the car with the coach to go home and stuff, and they didn't really like it. And by then I was pretty much, you have young lads like just falling out of love with it. I was that. I was training 5 nights a week, and we'd have a game 1 night a week. So I'd get 1 night off. The army weren't happening. Weren't really digging it because we was building up to go to Afghanistan. So the army are like, why do you keep fucking off? Like, you need to do all this training. So sometimes I'd get to training after doing 2 lots of army PT in a day. So I was fucked, man. I wouldn't get home till 10 o'clock at night. I'd have to get up at 7, go fucking running. It was just grinding me down. Wasn't enjoying my rugby. Fucking hated Doncaster. Just finished with it entirely. When it got to the end of the season, I didn't even wait till the end of the season. Actually, I just said, I'm not coming back. I'm just fucking quitting. So I retired, because you have to retire technically. So I retired, and then I played probably a couple of seasons once I left the army, just at like conference level, round in Manchester. But that was me.
And that is us, I think, for today. We didn't even get to talk about the 3 lads on the boat, but we'll save that for next week. I'll send you the article so you can read it before next week, because it's pretty nuts. You'll probably have a story similar to it that you've forgotten to tell me from your time in the army, but
I never got marooned on a boat, mate.
All right, sweet. So we'll save that for next week. Anything you got planned on your channel this week? I know we're doing Uncensored on Paddock.
I've recorded the next episode of History, but it takes about a week to edit. It's a long one, this one. It's about United getting relegated. So not the happiest of times. But if you've not checked out that series...
Law relegated us?
Of course it does.
Good stuff.
Can't be allowing that bullshit to be in the consciousness.
We can't. That sounds good. So I look forward to that. But you got usual content anyway. So subscribe to youtube.com/ Steve Howson, Stretford Paddock as well, Full-Time Devils, AdamMcKola TV. Subscribe to all of that. You can now join this channel as well. Click join to find out more. And for now, this has been the pod to nowhere. Like 2 Tiers says, we don't do overtime now. Yo, you've already got 6 minutes of overtime, and I'm starving. And it's 9 o'clock. And Steve's got kids. How long you want us to be here for? Guys, thank you for watching. Any final words?